Hello everyone and welcome to A Slice of My Life. I think the best way to start this video is to tell you guys that I am quite a fan of the CRKT Pilar. I think you guys know that already. So I'll just start talking about the Pilar first as a sort of a lead in to this video. This is my very first Pilar and I stonewashed it. DIY stonewash, not just on the show side but on the frame lock side as well. And I've also put an engraving of my name on there, and I just like it. I like the Pilar, I liked it so much. But then I came across this world of custom scales on Instagram, and so the next Pilar I got was so that I could fit on this particular custom scale. This one was made by William Taylor. I'll put a link to his Instagram profile in the description box below, but he makes a mean hand-carved custom scale for almost any knife, I believe. I mean, don't quote me on that, but I reached out to him and I made a couple of knives, not just for the CRKT Pilar, but also for the CRKT rip snort, and he did a wonderful job. This one right here is made of kyanite, and if you guys want me to talk more about this, in a future video or something, if you really are interested in finding out more, just let me know. Maybe I will make a video on this, but shout outs to William Taylor. Awesome job, and I really like the way this turned out. After that, I came across Rivendell Knives on Etsy, and Rivendell Knives were offering custom scales as well for the Pilar, and it was so nice that I got another Pilar just so I could fit one of these on. This is by Rivendell Knives. This one is in G10. You guys can see it's a black and orange G10, and I opted for a textured Anso pattern finish, and this is awesome. Like, this is really well done. But for me to save on shipping, I actually bought two scales, and the other scale from Rivendell Knives is this one here in natural G10. Now, I haven't got a Pilar for this yet because I bought this just so I could save on shipping. And also, just in case you're wondering, yes, I do have the BladeHQ exclusive carbon fiber Pilar. Just something about the Pilar that I really like. It just really appeals to me. The design, I think it's awesome. I think Jesper Voxnes did a wonderful job on this design. The ergonomics on this, the proportions on this, and everything is just great for me. I love it. Like, it just fits my hand very comfortably, and I think that this is a wonderful EDC knife, especially for the price point. Now, this is not a video that is focused on the Pilar, but it is focused on what I want to do with this natural G10 scale. Now, you guys know me, I like to tinker with stuff, I like to modify stuff, I like to try my hand on new things. I've tried giving scales a textured pattern already, and you guys know that I like flaming metals to get different colors, so I do a lot of hands-on DIY things just for fun. And while I did have the thought of tinting this natural G10 scale, I've actually tinted different plastics in the past before. I've tinted ABS, I've tinted polycarbonate, tint and dyed. I've also dyed some Magpul airsoft furniture. We're talking about like emboss flip-up sides, things like that. And the person I want to give credit to for that idea is my friend Nick Chen, aka Soulscud. He is amazing with the dyeing process. He's really got it pat. His work has even been featured in magazines and stuff. But anyway, before I dabble into something new, because I've never handled G10 before, I went online and I started researching on how to dye natural G10. And initially the search did not yield fantastic results, but recently, and I'm talking about like pretty recent, BladeHQ actually made a video where they spoke about customizing your knife, and it was more like a tutorial. And because of that video, I got really inspired, and I felt confident enough to try out dyeing my natural G10 scale. But of course, I wanted to do something a little bit different. You guys know me. So, taking cue from that video, I remember that we were supposed to bring water to a boil, then add in your Rit dye, and the Rit dye that was recommended is Rit dye Dye More. So I got myself 2 bottles of this Rit dye Dye More, and the reason why I got 2 bottles is because I want to give this natural G10 scale kind of like an ombre kind of finish, gradient. I know that people call that style ombre, but I'm just more comfortable saying gradient. So I want to give it a gradient color, and I want it to go from blue to purple or purple to blue with a little bit of transparency, because you see natural G10 is slightly transparent. I think I like that property of it. So I actually did a Photoshop simulation. I'll show it to you guys on screen so you can see it looks like that. At first I started with a raw Pilar color, then I colored the scale to sort of mimic the color of natural G10, and then I applied that gradient look, and that is kind of what I'm hoping to get out of this particular scale here. Let's just try this out. So I have 2 of these, and if you hear a slight humming or whizzing sound in the background, that's because I actually am bringing the water to a boil right now, right here off camera, out of frame. So yes, we need water. Then I got myself one of these. It could be anything, just any kind of wire. This was lying around that I had spare. This is one of those kind of things that you actually use to pinch onto plastic parts, because I used to build and spray paint a lot of Gundam modeling kits. I have one of these spare, so I bent it into this shape, and I got a little bit of vinyl tubing, just a little bit, and I cut a slot. And the reason for cutting it open like that is so that I can roll it up just like so that I can slot it into a screw slot on the scale, it's gonna be this screw slot as well as this screw slot where the pivot pin is and the lanyard slot is. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I want it to sit snug on this wire here. It's supposed to sit on like that and slip in all the way. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I don't want the scale to be moving around when I'm actually dyeing it. You know, it's got to be snug, it wouldn't move around or bounce around. I want to be able to control the dip. And I'm talking about a dip because, like I mentioned, I want to go for the gradient effect. So the idea is this: now that BladeHQ has proven that 30 seconds is more than enough to get a nice bend blue, shout out to BladeHQ, I have decided that in order to get the effect that I want, I'm gonna have to dip this twice, but I'm gonna do it in 30 seconds each. So the first time I'm gonna use one color. Imagine this is the water level. I wanna dip it this way, and I'm gonna count 30 seconds in as I slowly lower it. Once it hits 30 seconds, I'm gonna pull it out. Then I'm going to wash it off, let it dry off a little bit, and then repeat the process, but using the other slot with the other dye color. So it'll be this way instead. Pull it out for 30 seconds and let's see how it goes. I've never done this before on natural G10, so I'm really excited. I really want to see what the end result is like. But if I feel that the color is not strong enough, I might just dip it twice. I don't know yet. But I guess the next step is to wait for the water to boil, and as we're waiting for that, I'm gonna go clean up this scale. And you should be wearing gloves, but you know, I don't think I'll be actually touching the dye. And also, you know, in my case, I'm not gonna be wearing gloves. Don't follow my example. Just sit tight for the ride. Now that the water's at a rolling boil, we're gonna add half a bottle of the first color, and the first color that I'm using is Rit Dye Dye More in Royal Purple. Use something that you don't mind trashing or throwing away. For me, I'm using this plastic spoon. I know that it's not the best choice because this is boiling water, but it should suffice because I'm only going to be stirring it for a little bit. But we need to make sure that it goes back into that rolling boil. Now that it's back up to a rolling boil, you can see the dye actually boiling in there. We're going to start the dyeing process, but I want to share with you guys that this Rit Dye solution bubbles up really fast and really crazy. I kind of stained the area just now. That's why everything is a bit shifted. So learn from my mistake. Make sure that you check your flame all the time. It's pretty crazy. So here we go. I got my phone here and I'm using it as my stopwatch. So I'm going to just press start, and then I will start from 10 seconds and I will count to 40 seconds because you do the math, and then we'll pull it right out, see how that goes. See, the color's not too obvious. It's not like a nice deep purple that I want, so I guess I'm gonna go for a second pass, and this time I'll spend more time at the bottom area here of the scale instead. Now this looks relatively better. The color at the bottom is more pronounced. I feel like going for another 20 seconds just at the bottom half because it looks like it's turning out pretty nicely. I want that part to be a bit darker. So here we go again. I think this should be it. This is almost like what I want. I think this is pretty close. This is the result after washing off the residue and drying it out. This is so nice. It turned out way nicer than I expected. I'm actually kind of tempted to leave it at this color, and just so you guys know, it actually looks a lot darker on camera. In real life, it's a lot more subtle and the transparency is way more obvious. And I'm excited, can't wait to do the blue on this. Don't worry, it's actually clear water. The reason why it looks purple is because the inside of the can has been stained by the Rit dye before. So we're going to add in the blue now, half a bottle just like just now. Something strange seems to be happening. It seems like re-dyeing it is removing the purple dye. You guys saw that earlier on the purple dye went up all the way till here, but now it looks like the purple has been washed off. So this is pretty interesting. I'm gonna go wash this off now and see what the final result is.
2,000 years later.
Now comes the big reveal, everyone. I've washed the scale and I've assembled it onto a Pilar. Of course, not a new Pilar. I used the Pilar that had the other Rivendell Knives G10 scale on it. And I gotta tell you guys that although this is not exactly perfectly what I was going for, it is very, very close to what I was hoping for. And I really love the way it turned out. So here we go. And I'm gonna put the original picture up again on screen so that you guys can see a comparison of what I initially thought I would get because of the mock-up and what is the final result. And I love the fact that this is still a little bit transparent. That transparency is just awesome. So check it out. Oh yeah, and I've also lightly stonewashed the lock side of the scale. Just a light stonewash. I also put on a paracord lanyard thingy with a UV reactive bead. This bead will turn purple, just so I could match the blue and the purple, so I thought that was kind of cool. Let me just grab my UV light and I'll show you guys what it looks like. I got my UV light ready to go. I'm gonna fire it up and enjoy the color change of the bead. It is pretty sweet. And now it is a very beautiful hue of purple. Yeah. It fades off quite fast though. I realize that these UV reactive beads, it's really evident even outdoors. Once it's in the sunlight, it changes color really fast, but the moment you take it into a shade, you don't even have to be in an indoors location. Just in the shade, this thing will just start fading. And I think that actually is quite cool. I'd rather something like this versus something that, takes a really long time to change and a really long time to fade back. This is quite sweet. I'm actually gonna say that I'm quite proud of this. I like the way it turned out. I do admit that I wish that this was a little bit more bluish, closer to this hue. I mean, you guys saw the picture, but this has a very light tint of blue. And there's a slight hint of the original natural G10 here in this area. I find it interesting that Rit dye actually eats away at Rit dye even if it's a lighter color. So that's really strange. If you guys have more information about what actually happened, please let me know. Because you saw, I actually dyed it purple and it went all the way up here. And I was thinking that purple, being the darker color, wouldn't be eaten away or washed out by a lighter color. You know what I mean? So that's something that is new to me. If anyone knows exactly what's going on, please let me know in the comments below. But that's basically it. This scale, once again, is by Rivendell Knives. Very, very nicely made scale at a very affordable price. The workmanship is awesome. We've got chamfering all around. And this pattern, the Anzo pattern, is something that I requested. I think they did a wonderful job. I don't know if it's a day or it's just a one-man show, but in order for you to save on shipping, especially if you're overseas like me, I suggest to get 2 or more scales, and I'm really happy with the purchase. I'm looking forward to getting more. I wonder if they will ever offer scales for other knife models. Yes, there are some bits that were not textured fully, but that is very difficult, almost impossible to spot, especially when we're talking about natural G10 like that. That's just an untextured portion, but it's not bugging me at all. I really love the way this turned out. And that's the end of the video, everyone. Thank you so much for sharing in this slice of my life. I appreciate you sticking all the way throughout, even though I was just talking about how I got to doing the dyeing process of this particular scale. Of course, I'm gonna give credits again, once again, shout out to BladeHQ, because if not for you guys, I wouldn't be inspired to do this in the first place. And of course, Rivendell Knives for this particular scale. No, it's not a sponsored video. I bought it for retail, but just wanted to give them a shout out anyway, because this, in my opinion, is a job well done. Now, I love my Pilar even more. You guys know the Pilar is my favorite knife at this point because I love the proportions, I love the way it looks, and just to have this, wow. Now, I'm actually quite happy with this. As always, links in the description box down below in case you guys are interested in getting one of these skills for yourself. Rivendell Knives, everyone, go check them out. And I'll catch all of you in the next slice of my life. Till then, everyone, Gaga, Boos!